Have you ever found yourself wondering what really puts our health at risk after 65? It's a question that too many people only begin to ask when it's almost too late. The truth is, once we reach our mid-60s and beyond, our bodies change in subtle but powerful ways. Things that didn't used to matter suddenly become life-threatening. And it's not just about growing older, but how we adapt to those changes that makes all the difference. Many of us think the biggest dangers are sudden and dramatic, but the reality is, most of the top health threats that claim lives after 65 creep in quietly. They don't always come with pain or warning signs, and by the time symptoms are obvious, the damage may already be done. But here's the empowering news. These health risks are not unbeatable. With the right knowledge, small changes, and daily awareness, you can dramatically lower your risk and even improve the quality of your years ahead. In today's video, we're going to walk through the top 5 killers after age 65, but more importantly, how to protect yourself starting now. And we're not just talking statistics. We'll share real stories, practical tips, and gentle advice to help you take action without fear or overwhelm. Because at the Elder Voice, we believe knowledge is power, but only if it's shared with heart and care. So take a deep breath, settle in with your tea or coffee, and let's begin this journey together. You deserve to live not just longer, but stronger. And we're here to help you do just that. Killer 1. Heart disease, the silent saboteur. Let's begin with the number 1 cause of death after 65, heart disease. It's often called the silent killer for a reason. Many people have no idea something is wrong until they land in the hospital, or worse. But here's the truth. Heart disease rarely strikes without warning. It builds over years through habits, diet, stress, and sometimes just a lack of information. Let's take a look at 2 neighbors, Frank and Thomas, both in their early 70s. Frank still walks his dog twice a day, keeps an eye on his salt intake, and sees his doctor regularly. Thomas, on the other hand, often skips meals, relies on frozen dinners, and hasn't checked his blood pressure in years. Last year, Frank's doctor caught a slight elevation in his cholesterol. A few small tweaks, more fiber, less processed food, and a daily walk, and he was back in the clear. Thomas wasn't so lucky. He ignored the shortness of breath and chalked it up to just aging. By the time he went to the hospital, he was having a mild heart attack. The difference between these 2 men isn't just genetics. It's awareness and small, consistent choices. So what can you do to protect your heart? Get regular checkups. Blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar are silent markers of heart risk. Watch your plate. More greens, whole grains, lean protein, and healthy fats. Less salt, sugar, and packaged food. Move your body, gently but daily. Even a 15-minute stroll lowers risk dramatically. Listen to your body. Fatigue, dizziness, swelling, and shortness of breath are worth attention, not excuses. And don't underestimate emotional heart health either. Loneliness, grief, and long-term stress can raise your risk just as much as poor diet. The heart isn't just a muscle, it's a messenger. And it whispers before it screams. Pay attention to the whispers, and you may never hear the scream. Killer 2. Stroke, the fast-moving danger. The second leading cause of death and long-term disability after 65 is stroke. And unlike heart disease, which often builds up slowly, stroke can happen in an instant. One moment you're sipping your tea or talking with a friend, and the next something feels off. Maybe your arm won't lift, your speech slurs, or your vision blurs. It's terrifying, and it's fast. Let's meet Eleanor and Ruth, both 78, who live in the same retirement community. One morning, Ruth noticed Eleanor acting strangely. She was smiling, but only on one side. Her words were jumbled and she looked confused. Ruth didn't hesitate. She called for help immediately. Watch alcohol and smoking. Even small changes here can reduce your risk. Know your numbers. Blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar are powerful clues. And here's something not everyone talks about: dehydration. Yes, something as simple as not drinking enough water can increase your risk of blood clots. So sip regularly throughout the day, even if you don't feel thirsty. Stroke doesn't give much warning, but your daily habits are like silent armor, protecting you behind the scenes. And just like Ruth, you might not only save yourself, but someone else too. Killer 3. Chronic respiratory diseases, the silent breath takers. The third leading cause of death in people over 65 is chronic respiratory disease, conditions like COPD, chronic bronchitis, and emphysema. And the scariest part? These illnesses often develop quietly over time, until simple things like walking to the mailbox or climbing stairs leave you breathless. Let's meet Raymond and Leo, both in their early 70s. Raymond used to be a smoker in his younger days, but he quit at 50. Today, he still walks to the park, takes deep breaths easily, and laughs without coughing. Leo, on the other hand, continued smoking into his late 60s. Now, even a short stroll leaves him wheezing, and he avoids activities that once brought him joy. When we talk about chronic respiratory illness, we're not just talking about lungs. We're talking about independence. Because when your breathing becomes limited, so does everything else. But here's the hopeful part. You can protect your lungs even later in life. Here's how. Avoid exposure to smoke and air pollutants. If you used to smoke, quitting still helps, even decades later. And stay away from secondhand smoke, wood-burning stoves, and harsh chemical cleaners. Do regular breathing exercises. Yes, just 5 minutes a day of slow, deep breathing can improve lung strength. Try pursed lip breathing. Inhale through your nose and exhale slowly through puckered lips. Get vaccinated. Pneumonia and flu can be dangerous for older lungs. Vaccines like the flu shot, pneumonia shot, and even COVID boosters are important tools. Stay active. Gentle movement like walking, tai chi, or chair yoga helps keep your lungs flexible and engaged. Watch for warning signs. A lingering cough, shortness of breath, or frequent colds could be early signals. Don't dismiss them. Remember Susan, age 75. She always loved singing in her church choir. A few years ago, she noticed her breath getting shorter during songs. Instead of shrugging it off, she saw her doctor. Turns out she was in the early stages of COPD, but because she caught it early, she's now managing it well. She still sings every Sunday. Your breath is your life force. It's easy to take it for granted until it becomes difficult. But with care, awareness, and a few daily habits, you can keep your lungs strong and your life full of air, movement, and joy. Killer 4. Cognitive decline and Alzheimer's. Protecting your precious mind. The fourth leading cause of death in older adults is one that's deeply personal and often deeply feared: Alzheimer's disease and related dementias. Unlike a broken bone or a cough you can hear, cognitive decline sneaks in quietly. You forget where you placed your keys, you struggle to remember names, you repeat a story you just told yesterday. And while some memory slip-ups are part of normal aging, persistent confusion, forgetfulness, and personality changes can signal something more serious. Let's take a look at Margaret and Eileen, both 78 years old. Margaret lives in a small house with her daughter. She's always enjoyed puzzles and reading. Even now, she spends part of each afternoon working on crosswords and calling old friends just to chat and laugh. Eileen, on the other hand, has gradually stopped doing the things she used to love: gardening, playing cards, baking. She often says, "I just don't feel like myself anymore." Her family notices she's repeating questions and losing track of time. While Margaret's brain is staying stimulated, Eileen's withdrawal from her usual habits could be accelerating cognitive decline. But here's the truth. Our brains crave use, just like our muscles. And there are simple, proven ways to protect your mind, even well into your 70s and 80s. Start with these steps. Stay mentally active. Whether it's reading, solving puzzles, learning a new skill, or just telling stories to your grandchildren, your brain loves variety and challenge. Socialize regularly. Isolation is a major risk factor for cognitive decline. Call friends. Join a walking group. Even brief chats can help keep your mind sharp. Protect your heart. What's good for your heart is good for your brain. High blood pressure, diabetes, and poor circulation all affect brain health. So eat well, stay active, and manage stress. Get enough sleep. During deep sleep, your brain clears out toxins. Poor sleep has been strongly linked to memory problems in older adults. Keep learning. It's never too late to be curious. Take up painting, start a journal, or learn a new language. Your brain thrives on new experiences. Take Louis, age 82, who recently started attending a weekly storytelling class at his community center. He says it makes him feel young again. His memory is sharper, and more importantly, he feels connected and joyful. The mind is like a garden. It needs regular care. And just like a garden, if you tend to it with love and attention, it can bloom for years. So don't fear memory loss. Fight it with movement, laughter, learning, and connection, because your thoughts, your memories, and your stories deserve to be cherished. Closing thoughts. Taking charge of your health one gentle step at a time. We've talked about the top 5 killers after age 65, and while the facts can feel heavy, the message behind them is one of hope and strength. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. Heart disease, the silent threat that can often be reversed with small, steady change. Cancer, where prevention, early detection, and mindset can make all the difference. Respiratory diseases that remind us to keep breathing deeply, moving gently, and staying connected to clean air and healthy routines. Cognitive decline, which shows us that the brain, like the body, needs love, challenge, and companionship to stay strong. And finally, falls, those sudden accidents that don't have to be inevitable if we create safer spaces and keep our bodies mobile. Each of these risks is real, but so is your power to push back. Let's remember, a long life isn't just about avoiding illness, it's about embracing vitality. Think of people like Harold, who takes his blood pressure daily and enjoys a morning stroll with his wife, or Eleanor, who keeps her brain active by writing letters to her grandkids every week. Or Paul, who recently added some stretching into his evening routine and hasn't tripped once in months. These small actions, done with care and consistency, build a future that feels stronger, brighter, and more joyful. And it's never too late to start. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just pick one area, maybe more movement, a better bedtime routine, or calling your doctor for that overdue checkup. Do it gently, do it kindly, do it for you. Because you matter. Your story, your laughter, your wisdom, they are needed. And we want you here for many more years to come, living not just longer, but better. If this video gave you something to think about, let us know in the comments. Just write, "I'm taking care of me." And let's celebrate the courage it takes to choose health at any age. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to The Elder Voice. We're here every week with honest, heartfelt advice made just for you. Because aging should feel empowering, not scary. Until next time, stay strong, stay connected, and stay inspired. You are not alone on this journey, and you are deeply valued.